Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear audience. You are listening to the discussion aisle and I'm your host Sohaib Noor only on Plant FM 87.6. And the audience, as always, I am here with a special topic and that we are going to discuss on our show. And that is really according to your interest, and that we are going to talk on climate change and, of course, scientists battling intensive rainfall to climate change after floods in Pakistan and UAE, and what's happening in UAE and Saudi Arabia. Everyone knows that it's just because of the fall of and afterfall of climate change, and that's the reaction. And climate experts say that warmer oceans lead to greater evaporation, and warmer air can hold more water vapors, and that's why Pakistan recorded double the amount of rainfall in April, whilst UAE received 2 years of rain in a single day. So you can imagine that how much downpour that has affected UAE and all the major states of the Arab Emirates. You can just imagine that if a single day can give you a rainfall of a couple of years, then imagine how much the flooding will be on the surface. And of course, the floods have been tearing a path of destruction across the globe. And even if we see that just hammering Kenya, submerging Dubai, and forcing hundreds of thousands of people from Russia to China, Brazil, and Somalia, and we have also witnessed that in Saudi Arabia. And though not directly all attributed to global warming, they are occurring in an year and of record-breaking temperatures, and underscores what scientists have just long warned, that climate change drives more extreme weather. And the audience, undoubtedly, the climate change isn't about rising temperatures, but knock-on effect of all that extra heat that being just trapped in the atmosphere and among our seas. And of course, last month, that is April, was the 11th consecutive month to break its own heat record, and the European Union climate monitor Copernicus has said on Wednesday that whilst ocean temperature have been off the charts of for ever longer, and even the recent extreme participation events are consistent with that, it's expected in an increasingly warmer climate. And even the warmer oceans means greater evaporation, and warmer airs can hold more water vapors. So because of this climate catastrophe, and this is because of this ecosystem, it is affecting our climate change, and it is affecting our atmosphere right now. And scientists have even a calculation for this, and for every 1 degree Celsius in rise temperature, the atmosphere can hold 7% more moisture, and even this result in more intense rainfalls. And even we have seen what happened last month in Pakistan, that recorded double the amount of normally monthly rainfall, and one province saw 437% more than average rain, while the UAE that has recorded and received almost 2 years of worth of rain in a single day. So this is what we always talk about, that climate change needs some action. There's some climate justice to all those countries who are most vulnerable, and Pakistan is unfortunately the country that is more vulnerable country right now. And although we have a very minor, or I must say, less than a minor contribution in the global warming or in the climate change catastrophes, and even what we call in the global pollution system, we are just contributing only 0.79% in the global system, but the effect, that is massive. And we have been hit by climate change catastrophe through many years, and back long 10 years before what happened in Pakistan, there was a flooding. And even every year we are witnessing more floods, more rainfall, more downpours, and that is affecting not only our agriculture system, but it's also affecting the livelihood of general masses. And besides that, after these rainfalls and after this flooding, what remains? Just hue and cry and diseases, waterborne diseases especially. And although the finances are much less, and Pakistan is not that financially or economically stable, but what we need, what Pakistan need, is a global action. And 2 years back, when the Secretary General of UN, Antonio Guterres, he visited Pakistan, he just labeled that climate justice to Pakistan, and he just requested all the countries of the world that Pakistan needs of funds, and every other country that is, of course, a developed country, and because of those countries, we are facing all these catastrophes and all these, unnatural phenomena, and that is why we need some help from those countries. And the audience, if we see that the natural climate viability and especially the variability also influences weather and global rainfall patterns, and this includes the cyclical phenomena like El Nino that happened and which tends to bring heat and rain extreme and help the fuel the higher temperatures seen over land and sea this past year. And even while natural the variability plays a role, the long observed global increase in the heavy precipitation that have been driven by human induced climate change. And of course, what we have witnessing is that they keep pushing the global warm temperature towards new records, and just because of the El Nino and the flow, but the extra trapped heat by the rising greenhouse gases emissions is keeping that much higher. And even considering the overlapping forces at play, attributing any one of the flood to climate change alone can be fraught, and each event must be taken as a case. And of course, case by case basis, we need to take that much seriously. But scientists have developed peer reviewed methods that allow for the quick comparison of an event today and against the stimulations that consider a world in the world global warming that hadn't occurred before. And if you see, for example, that World Weather Attribution, the scientists have pointed this approach, said that the drenching of UAE and Oman last month was most likely by the global warming, and that's exacerbated by global warming caused by burning fossil fuels. And Climameter and other rapid assessment network who use a different methodology. Uh, in April, we have seen in China there was major floods and likely to influence by global warming and El Nino. And it can be difficult to, just uh, disentangle the global warming and the natural variability. And some weather events are more clear cut and others. Uh, in case of devastating floods in Brazil, however, the climameter were able to just exclude El Nino as a significant factor, and even the name human driven climate as the primary culprit. And most of the countries that have been just swept by high floods at the moment, such as Burundi, Afghanistan, Somalia, rank among the poorest and least able to mobilize a response to such disasters. But the experience in Dubai showed even well, these jets were not prepared, and they were not prepared to tackle, to handle, or even to face such kind of calamities. And I must say, these are more than calamities, these were natural disasters. And if just imagine if any other country, the most developed countries of the world, they cannot, just take actions against if a downpour that happened, if a rainfall happened in a single day of a couple of years. Just imagine that, how much downpour that would be. And we know that a climate is warmer climate is more conducive to several severe weather extremes, but cannot be predicted exactly when, where these extremes will occur. And current level of preparedness and weather extremes are inadequate, and preparing and investing now is cheaper than delaying actions. So what we need to do, of course, climate change and climate actions right now with some little efforts. We need to start with that, and of course, engaging the developed countries and just utilizing their technologies, just utilizing their assistance. We can have a good major program because most of the countries they have good researches, they have good studies that how to tackle, how to handle all these climate change effects. And if we have those studies, and if we have the implementation of those studies, active implementation in our country, then of course we will be in a position to tackle those climate changes. And of course, there should be an existing coordination among those countries, but well prepared. And I've been through an article that just talked about that can climate change just boost or just climate change can change Pakistan's economy. And even Of course, yes, but adopting effective policies that could help Pakistan not only to mitigate impacts of climate change, but also attract an investment and expand trade horizons. And every country in the world or every investor in the world, what they see that uh, our investment should be safer, our investment should be more secure, our investment should be a kind of investment that could give us more profit and that could give us more fruition in the future. And if you see that what happened in Pakistan, of course, 2 years back, of our agriculture sector, that is the backbone of our economy, and Pakistan rely more on its agriculture economy and agriculture trade than any other trades, and then textile and other things. But right now, if you see that Pakistan used to send vegetables, Pakistan used to send lentils, grains, wheat to other countries, and especially rice. And meanwhile, our fruits, we keep on sending them to other countries to get some foreign results. But in the absence of this agriculture, due to the downpour, due to the rainfall, due to the climate calamities, we are unable to just manage those things, and we are unable to send them to the outer world so that we could get that revenue. And that's why we just bear a loss of $40 billion approximately 2 years back, and still the consequences are not that good. Even if you see the aftermath of the August 2022 floods, the unveiling that the post-disaster needs assessment report that has published in October 2022 illuminated that the profound economic toll extracted by this catastrophic event and its intricate link to human induced disasters and, of course, human induced climate change. But at that time, we were just talking about the climate induced disasters. But right now, they have termed that human induced climate change. But the floods attributed to a 1.2 degrees Celsius rise in the global temperatures, and even that just exacerbated by factors such as melting Himalayas glaciers and land use changes that inflicted staggering damages, estimating about 3.2 trillion rupees, that is almost $15 billion, with recovery needs soaring to 3.5 trillion, that is 16.3 billion, approximately 31 billion USD. So you can just imagine what kind of a beer we have just suffered, Pakistan has suffered in this dwindling economic situation. And as the demand for sustainable development and climate resilience become increasing urgent, Pakistan finds itself as at a crucial crossroads that adopt or just suffer the consequences. However, an adaptation of the effective policies should help Pakistan not only mitigate the impacts of climate but also attract investment and expand the country's trade horizons, and sectors such as housing, agriculture, and transport and communication bore the brunt of devastation, and with respect damages reaching about rupees 1.2 trillion, and that was almost 5.6 billion dollars, and rupees 800 billion, that is about 3.7 billion dollars, and besides that rupees 701 billion, that is 3.3 billion dollars approximately. And the framework for attributing those losses to climate change suggests that roughly half of Pakistan losses can be linked to the long-term climate change, and underscores the need of a nuanced approach to allocate or allocating responsibility. While just international pledges of relief such as American USD $50 million and Canada's USD $5 million just offer some assistance, they pale in comparison to the magnitude of the attributable losses. And this disparity underscores that the importance of re-evaluating global arrangements to ensure that countries historically responsible for climate change bear a commensurate share of cost. But who is bearing that? None. But who is getting affected? Those who have contributed, none. So it's a total opposite policy that we are just facing, and unfortunately those countries who have more contribution in the global rise in the temperature rise, and due to their industrialization and rapid and steady big industries grown. But what we are witnessing, although we don't have a share, as I mentioned, less than 1%, about 0.79%, but we are facing that the huge brunt of this climate change. And even the audience, as the climate related tragedies that become more frequent and severe, the call for climate justice that grows louder and demanding equitable distribution of responsibility. And if a country that has done that industrialization, or that has just contributed more than other countries, they need to bear the loss more, because they have to face that, because they are contributing more and more in this global warming or temperature rise. Then they are responsible to share that amount, that profit, to the country that has suffered because of their consequences. And these are the things that are manageable. And of course there should be a proper legislation, there should be a proper I must say, laws. There should be proper values that need to be introduced, and even there should be proper rules and obligations that need to be built on the charter of UN, so that every country that is responsible in contributing some bad thing in the environment, they need to contribute or suffer the loss as the country or any other country is suffering. And Pakistan's effort, we see so far, against the backdrop, it is imperative to acknowledge Pakistan's efforts to build a strong legal regulatory infrastructure to tackle climate change, despite the contributing less than 1% of the global greenhouse gases emission. This legal infrastructure comprises a multifaceted framework and encompassing the acts of parliament, policy frameworks, and subordinate legislation. And of course, the audience, that is noteworthy legislative acts include the Climate Change Act that just took place in 2017, which was established by the Climate Change Council and calls for the conservation of resources, and that was just impacted by the climate variations. And even similarly, the enactment of the Global Change Impact Studies Center, that act in 2013, that led to the establishment of the Global Change Impact Studies Center, that tasked with the evaluation of climate change and ramifications and fostering public awareness. Moreover, Pakistan's Environment Protection Agency Act of 1997 underscores the country's commitment to environmental revitalization and pollution management, and even the facilitating the establishment of provincial sustainable development funds and the Environmental Protection Authority. The policy framework such as the National Climate Change Policy (NCCP) and the framework for implementation of climate change policy 2014 to 2013, that just delineate objectives aimed at mitigating climate-related challenges, with a particular focus on sectors vulnerable to climate change, and of course climate vagaries such as agriculture and forestry, and various regulatory measures and that have been complemented to the implementation of laws and policies framework that encompassing the polluted levies, and even of course the regulations that govern wildlife trade and restrictions on the plastic usage. And right now we are in a good condition that we are not only recycling, but we are also just restricting our plastic goods and plastic usage, and converting them into more environment friendly materials that have been introduced so far. And we are just trying to reduce the consumption, the manufacturing, the production, and of course the usage of this plastic. And however, on the on ground impacts of these acts and measures in our daily life of course communities and citizens is not that evident yet, but only the next disaster will unfortunately demonstrate the true efficiency of these policies. But Pakistan judiciary, that has also played a vital role in the shaping the climate change in jurisprudence, and landmarks such as what happened back in 1994, and even the Asghar Laghari Foundation of Pakistan in 2018 have expanded constitutional interpretations to encompass the right to a healthy environment, and mandated the enforcement of climate change policies, thereby establishing mechanisms such as Climate Change Commission. And additionally, the judicial interventions such as those in Lahore Canal Bank Road the so moto action that was taken place in 2011 underscored the judiciary's commitment to mitigating environmental degradation during the infrastructure projects. And similarly, Pakistan just enhances adherence to environmental, social, and governance regulations reflect the global shift towards the corporate accountability concerning environmental and social welfare. So these regulations that have served as a barometer for just conscientious investors and of course evaluating factors that were ranging from energy efficiency to the ethical wildlife treatment and employee well-being and governance standards should underscore the principle of transparency and an adherence to normal global norms. And of course, despite these facing challenges such as high fuel cost and import dependency and outdated infrastructure, Pakistan had made strides since 2013 to address these issues and with the focus on just transitioning towards renewable, particularly wind and solar power. And Pakistan aiming to diversify its energy sources and reduce carbon emissions and carbon footprints. Furthermore, Pakistan is committed to reduce emissions by 50% by 2030, underscored the significance of strategic policy interventions in achieving these sustainable goals and mitigating carbon emissions and of course navigating our roadblocks. However, we are just performing in adhering to ESG principles as evidenced by global indices such as the World Bank ECSG's data portal remains deficient with the countries that rank globally 161 globally when it comes to adopting to the following principles. This underscores the urgency to Pakistan to really align its practices with the ESG principles and for risk to enhance risk management. We are focusing on that and of course initiatives such as guidelines for the Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, SECP, and the State Bank of Pakistan environmental and social risk management implementation manual aimed to instill the sustainable practices with the financial sector. Furthermore, green banking guidelines advocate for just integrating environmental consideration into bank operations and even aligning with the international endeavors towards a low carbon economy. And as Pakistan is just implementing just confronts these challenges, just nurturing of ESG implementation becomes more imperative, not only to bolster cooperation resilience, but also to promote social welfare and environmental preservations, and thereby contributing to a more sustainable future. And that is the need of the hour, that what we need to do right now. And of course it will have some significant shift and it will have some significant marks of course in the near future. And the audience, of course, Pakistan's renewable energy that endeavors also mark a significant shift towards the question of a sustainable energy landscape. And of course, we are rapidly, I must say, just moving towards the environment friendly energy system, and we are trying to enhance our systems, and we are just getting rid of these traditional and old systems and that have more carbon footprints just because of the burning of fossil fuels, and we are just trying to reinstall, revamp, and reshaping after some effective legislative reforms. And of course we will have that in our every area to be installed so that we could get rid of all these fossil fuels and the burning of fossil fuel that has caused much damage to our surface too. And even the environmental innovation on carbon neutrality in just 37 OSD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Economies from 1970s to 2090. It is recovered that export diversification and fiscal decentralization increased carbon emissions, whereas renewable energy usage and the environmental innovations improved environmental conditions. And of course, despite facing challenges such as high fuel cost, import dependency, and outdated infrastructure, we have just made strides since 2013 to address these issues. And of course, the focus of transitioning our old systems towards renewable energy, particularly with wind and solar power plants, and we are just aimed to diversify our energy sectors and energy sources to reduce these GAGs. And furthermore, Pakistan's commitment to reducing emissions by almost 50%, as I mentioned before, by 2030, and underscores the significance of the strategic policies interventions in achieving sustainability goals and mitigating carbon emissions. And of course, the origins in the context of the just after mentioned study, the International Monetary Fund study also underscores that the vital role of green innovations in reducing emissions and stimulating economic growth, particularly in emerging markets like Pakistan. Despite the advancements, recent setbacks attributed to technological maturity and fluctuations in the oil prices, and that warrant careful considerations. And not just renewable energy, Pakistan's textile and fashion industry is also aligning itself with the emerging regulations and government policies, notably the Textile and Apparel Policy 2020 and 2025, underscoring Pakistan's commitment to just sustainable development. And of course, this industry is contributing just 60% of Pakistan's total global exports and almost 8.5% in the national GDP, facing challenges such as precarious working conditions, human rights violations, and environmental issues, including GHGs emissions and just hazardous waste disposal. And of course, while these challenges persist in enhancing supply chain transparency and environmental compliance in Pakistan, that is right now prioritizing the sustainability can unlock growth opportunities and spur innovation and enhance the country's competitiveness in the global market while contributing to the long-term environmental and social welfare. And of course, how can Pakistan or we attract climate financing? According to an evaluation study by the Asian Development Bank to on climate change, Pakistan has received the least amount of climate financing from the ADB over the past 10 years, and the UAE commitments to leveraging USD 270 billion dollars in green finance by 2030, with the plans to support energy transition in countries like Pakistan, and offers a potential avenue for addressing Pakistan's climate adaptation needs, whilst the range between USD 7 billion dollars to USD 14 billion dollars annually, according to the ADB report. And achieving Pakistan's climate goal, including its nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement, remains contingent on bridging the gap between the required funds and the current flow of climate finance to our country. And even as the demands for sustainable development and the climate resilience becomes increasingly urgent, Pakistan finds itself as at a most crucial crossroads. Despite the rising global focus on investments related to climate, Pakistan's policy circle appears to fall short in establishing an unified and sustainable approach to secure and such essential foreign direct investment. And right now we are focusing on that. And yesterday I mentioned the Saudi delegation that visited Pakistan along with the 50 members and from 30 different companies. They are just focusing that how to revive the Pakistan economy and what are the diverse sector where they can invest, and they can invest more securely. And as I mentioned, the role of Special Investment Facilitation Council, that how they have just actively participating, and they have provided a one window solution to all international investors so that they could come up with their ideas and they could come up with their support and with their tools, innovations, and their products. And if they want to invest in Pakistan, they have a single window operation, and they can get all their permissions, they can get all their NOCs under a single roof and under a single building, that is SIFC. So this is the biggest I must say facility that have been provided by government of Pakistan so far to all the international investors and all the international company owners that want to come to invest and that want to just collab with the existing companies in Pakistan. And of course, one glaring obstacle, I'm talking about the climate change, is the fundamental misunderstanding surrounding which the climate FDI, how to diverges from conventional FDIs, foreign direct investment I'm talking about, and the World Economic Forum is in an illuminating white paper that has aptly defines climate FDIs as investment that contribute to a country's climate growth and of course climate aligned growth objectives. And these investments prioritize projects that are zero to low cost or that are zero to low carbon, aim to reduce carbon footprints and bolster resilience against the impact of climate change. So these are the investment that we need right now, and such kind of investment that can also improve our energy infrastructure, that can also improve our old conventional system, and of course if it will be replaced, then our reliability on fossil fuels will be reduced and we can save a good amount of foreign reserves that we are just sending to other countries just to fulfill our energy demands. And besides that, as we are working on dams, although it is a time taking process, it's a long term process, but we are also focusing on solar energy system, we are focusing on wind energy system, we have some wind parks and wind farms that are working, but we need their full potential, and more areas need to be such technology to be installed so that we could have a good energy, we could have an environment friendly energy system so that it could just overcome all these not only financial crisis but also the energy crisis. And right now what the general public is facing, the higher cost of electricity and gas, and of course it is almost unaffordable to general masses who are, especially those who are on daily wages, or especially who are from the private sector, or who are the salaried class. So it is almost unaffordable, the cost of electricity and the cost of gas right now. But in the if we have the FDIs, and if we have the climate change FDIs, as I have mentioned, the climate FDIs as an investment that contribute to a country's economy, so it will have some good repercussions, and if have it will have also a good impact on our energy sector, and of course it will bolster and boom our energy sector to overcome all the crises. And we are, as we are witnessing, we have been witnessing for so many years, the load shedding during the summer season, the electricity load shedding, and of course the gas load shedding during the winter seasons. Of course the amount of such FDIs will convert all those crises and will change the dynamics of Pakistan energy sector, and of course it will have some good thing and good impact on the livelihoods of the people. And if the industries will grow, and if the industries or SMEs they will grow, then it will bring prosperity not only in the country but also in the life of general masses. And of course in the light of Pakistan vulnerability to climate change, the outline measures in the white papers offer a strategic blueprint for addressing four key challenges, and that is just attracting investment for climate resilient projects. First and foremost, aligning the strategies of investment promotion agency IPA, notably the board of investment, with the climate objectives signifies a proactive stance towards mitigating investment risk, enhancing and alluring the barriers that are faced by developing and all the countries that are nations like Pakistan, which grapple with elevated risk priorities and financial constraint. And secondly, what we need to do, the initiatives to establish a database to sustainable underscores just concerted efforts and just to bolster the sustainability credentials of domestic firms by enhancing the visibility and capability of local suppliers. And Pakistan not only aims to reduce transaction cost for investors but also positions itself as an attractive hub for the sustainable investment. And third, mapping the multinational enterprises and climate commitments to invest opportunities underscore the importance of aligning private sectors, especially their interest with the natural climate globes, and leveraging the multinational enterprises that commitments can drive investment towards the climate friendly projects, and facilitating the transition to the low carbon economy while advancing Pakistan's sustainability development goals. And last but not the least, Pakistan collaboration with the governments and stakeholders to integrate and the climate FDI's provisions into international investment agreement that demonstrate a commitment of harmonizing investment frameworks with the climate imperatives. And these are the things that we need to do. As I have just mentioned before, there are many studies that are available globally, and if we just request to those countries, or if those countries they want to have their say, they want to have their share just to mitigate the climate challenges in Pakistan, then they can also offer Pakistan that these are our roadmaps, these are our studies, and according to our studies, why Pakistan is facing such climate disaster, or why we were facing such disaster, and how we have just overcome, or how we have just implemented our policies. These are the frameworks, these are the measures that we have taken. And if you can just act, or if you can just have these studies, or if you want to just avail this knowledge, this type of knowledge, then we are helpful to you, and we will be helpful to you, and we are offering assistance from our side. And these are the things that the big countries can offer to Pakistan. And even the advocating for reforms in international investment agreements to intensify the climate aligned investments, addressing the regulatory hurdles that may just impede the flow of capital towards climate resilient project. For instance, if I say in 2023, Pakistan attributed USD $200 million worth of mitigation and adaptation project of the Green Climate Fund GCF, and that was the Pakistan financing. And moreover, some specific public and private sector entities were also endorsed for the accreditation to the GCF, which will be open now to avenues, of course, of the global funding for Pakistan. And the importance of ESG principles in Pakistan that stems from the country's vulnerability to extreme weather events and climate related losses, just prompting a need of holistic approach in corporate and investment decisions. Various regulatory measures such as the SBP's State Bank of Pakistan's Green Banking Guidelines, and the Stock Exchange Commission of Pakistan's Corporate Social Responsibility Guidelines, that underscores the importance of ESG principles, ESG integrations in the business practices. And recent initiatives such as the SECP's ESG roadmap signify growing momentum towards the ESG adaptation, with the Pakistan Stock Exchange also joining sustainable initiatives. However, Pakistan's current ESG performance calls for more intensified efforts. But besides that, ESG implementation encompasses the diverse aspects from waste management to renewable energy adaptation, aiming for a sustainable future. Robust monitoring and transparent reporting and comprehensive assessments are pivotal in ensuring effective ESG. And of course, this ESG integration will bring some good enhancement to corporate resilience policies, but also foster social and societal well-being and environmental conservation, ultimately contributing to a more sustainable and ethical future for everyone. And additionally, the uncertainties that persisting regarding the Pakistan professional trade status, further compounded by the competitive pressures from the regional counterparts such as India, Bangladesh, and Vietnam either. Whilst just trade patterns indicate the potential of diversification, there should be a still need of regulatory convergence, particularly in the sectors addressing potential trade that has losses exceeding $3 billion, impacting sectors such as Badline apparel exports, with Germany identified as the most impacted market. And this adds complexity to the Pakistan's balance of payments challenges, and highlighting the urgency for the local industries, especially in sectors like as textile, agriculture, and even other the sports. Pakistan is famous for that globally, and to prioritize the ESG compliance to sustainable market share, and even ensure long-term viability amidst the evolving global trade dynamics. And of course, there are many important economic opportunities that what how we can just get use of it. And the escalating demand for sustainable products globally is reshaping the consumer preferences and brand competitiveness, with the sustainability rapid becoming a foundational requirement for the market uses. And of course, the audience, the trust plays a vital role in driving the consumers' behavior, and especially among the younger demographics that poised to dominate future purchasing power. And even the despite sustainable products that are commanding premium, consumers, particularly the younger demographics, show a strong willingness to pay more items along with the values, underscoring the importance for businesses to integrate sustainability into the core strategies for the long-term viability. And of course, and this aligns with Pakistan's need to the ESG consideration and product evaluation, product process, especially the European regulations tighten, potentially hindering the export growth, and of course to maintain the competitiveness and the market access. And moreover, in the quest for economic prosperity, Pakistan stands at a critical juncture, and where the importance of sustainable and inclusive growth just supersedes the allure of just elite central policies. With an average annual growth rate of 4% from 2010 to 2020, it just against a concerning escalation in the debt of GDP's ratio from 55% to 76%. Pakistan's economic trajectory appears just streamlined, but this pales in comparison to Bangladesh, of course, and to other countries. But right now, we are slowly and steadily we are improving our economy. And of course, if due to this climate change, and of course due to these calamities, they just a stark contrast. And of course, we just underscore the urgency for Pakistan to just recalibrate our economic strategies. And of course, as I have mentioned before, the climate FDIs, shifting away from exclusive growth models that disproportionately just benefit the affluent few towards more inclusive approach that foster a sustainability, equitable distribution of resources. And of course, embracing the policies that prioritize investments in education, healthcare, and infrastructure development while curbing rampant corruption and promoting entrepreneurship could pave the way for Pakistan to unlock its full economic potential and bridge the gap between its regional counterparts. And right now, as our IT sector, it's booming, and our tourism is an important sector where we can just do much better, and even we can attract more and more foreign tourists, so that they could see the beauty of Pakistan and how Pakistani people, they are most hospitable, they are most humble, and they are most lovely people. And every vlogger I have mentioned many times in my shows, they just visited Pakistan, and before they was just thinking that should we visit Pakistan, should we go there, or it should be a country that is just that is what the foreign the our Western media has portrayed about. Everyone is just having a gun on his shoulder, and the people, they are more harsh, they are like kind of fighters. But when they came to Pakistan, their whole scenario, their whole narrative, their whole mentality, that changes. And that says that unfortunately the Western media, it is portraying a most negative picture of Pakistan. But the true picture is Pakistan is the most humble, most beautiful, and the most hospitable country in the world. And the people, they are most lovely, they love to guide you, they love to work with you, they love to support you, and they love to just help you and assist you if you are in some difficult situation. So these are the thing. And of course, I must say that the media, it plays a very good role. And when we talk about that in the local in today's world, we are on a verge just to have some hybrid war, media wars. And media is has been used for since many decades to propagate against some country, and to from white gray to black propagandas. We have just witnessed everything. But right now, if the countries who always say that Pakistan is our partner, Pakistan is our ally in the war against terrorism, then they need to portray the positive image rather than portraying the fake and unfortunately the black image of Pakistan. They need to show what is the reality and what is the truth, and the truth that has just been unveiled by the foreign vloggers that have visited Pakistan, and they have changed their mentality and the mentality of their loved ones and even their followers. They say, and even when I scroll down at their YouTube channels or their social media comment box, I always just came to know, and it's much pleasing and of course astonishing for me that people say that unfortunately our media is not portraying or depicting the true picture, but the true picture is what you are showing to us. And this is how all those vloggers who just came or visited Pakistan for the very first time or once, they love to come again. They love to come again, and they say that we want to visit Pakistan again, because even the vlogs, they were just crying and they were just weeping when they were just leaving Pakistan, because of course everyone has to live towards their own country, but they were weeping because they have received such amount of love, they have received such amount of affection, they have received such amount of you know beautiful exchange of views and cultures, so they don't want to leave. And if they are leaving, then of course with a broken heart, that why they are leaving Pakistan. So these are the things that the world need to do. And of course, uh, as Pakistan is a country of beautiful people, beautiful sceneries, beautiful scenic views, it is the truth. And of course one of the most peaceful countries so far. And right now, alhamdulillah, we are the only country that have just vanquished the menace of terrorism, not only from our side but also we have secured the regional countries, because we are the one who have won this war against terrorism in a very limited time span. And even we are the only country that has secured not only our borders but the other borders, so that there should not be any intervention from their soil to Pakistan and from our soil. Although there was none, but a propaganda that just circulated over the media, international media, was unfortunately rampant. But we have curbed all those things, and right now the international bodies, they need to come up together, and they need to just show their morals, they need to show their studies, they need to share everything that is just to mitigate these climate challenges and just to mitigate the climate changes. We need to just revamp our structure, and we need to just introduce more legislative reforms to overcome these climate issues. With this, dear audience, I always, in the end, I always say that we need to contribute something positive for our country. And how we can contribute positively? Just plant a single tree. And if we plant a single tree, it is also sabka jariya, and it is a teaching of Islam that if you plant a tree, then you will have a good reward. If a bird that create a nest, it will have it is a reward. If a passenger or any animal that sit under the shadow of that tree, it is a reward. And even if a passenger, if someone is eating a fruit from that tree, it will also have a big reward for you. And of course a big reward that it is contributing a good impact and some good energies to your environment, to our countries. And not only a glowing scenic view for our own eyes, pleasant views, but also good impact, reducing the carbon emission and just absorbing the bad elements, toxic elements from the environment, and just purifying our environment either. With this, dear audience, this was our today's discussion in the discussion aisle about climate change. Hope you like the program. I'm Sohaib bin Noor. Just take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Fi amanillah.